Okay, so I'm looking at my reference photos because I've already had one crack at this and it turned out horrible. So I'm going to have a look at. And what I'm doing is I've grabbed these reference photos about the vehicle, the E450 Ford ambulance van. And really, I'm just trying to get an idea of the shape of the bonnet, how things align, like that little ridge line there is kind of useful because it gives me an idea of the way of flowing the topology across the surface. So if I can keep that line maintained through it, keep this ridge through it, I can separate out the door and the windscreen, that's fine. But really trying to get the more complicated structure of the cab of the vehicle happening. So you can see that here. This one, that ridge line that separates one part of the bonnet from the other is not visible, but you can see what I'm talking about. It'd be great to have one of these sitting outside so that I could go have a real close look at it, but you know, there's only so much I need to model and so much detail I need to add. Noting the mirrors on the side, there's these little down panels here that you can step on, trying to get that sort of boxy shape around the tyre happening, and that through the actual headlight. Also note that the little lights around the outside, we'll get to those later because you can just model one of those, duplicate it, and basically replicate it all around the top, and you're pretty much done. Most of the beveled edges have what they call a chamfer, which is basically a 45-degree angle. So it's instead of hitting at a cornered box, you've got that flat surface in between that, and that's then again beveled a few times, and you can see that at the top and the sides and that sort of stuff, and that's pretty easy to do. So jumping into Blender, let's get that bit happening first. Edit menu. So oh, I get half of it. Did I not apply the modifier? Oh no, Alt H to unhide. That way I don't need to do it. Alright, selecting from above, I want don't ask me what happened there. If you hold down Alt and flick your mouse in a particular direction, you can rotate around really quickly. So I want this edge here, that edge there, and then I might turn it into solid mode so it's easier to see and select the edges I want. And for some reason, Windows is being extra helpful. Not. I'm going to have to add a ring cut into that space. Oh, it's already in there, so face X that face, and then edges, that one and that one, face, that one and that one, face, and that should fix up most of that problem, except of course underneath. Hide. Alright, and that will then need to fix this one. Excuse me while I tidy up this model. Just fixing a few little glitches that I missed while I was doing what I was doing before. So that should now be generally operational. It doesn't need to be perfect. Anyhow, we've got this edge, this edge, this edge. Oh, forgot one. That and that need face. Alright, then we have this edge, that edge, that edge, that edge, that. Okay, and I'm only interested in the top edges, I think, because the bottom ones don't have this bevel to them. Get rid of that bit. So, Control B for beveling. I only need... Ooh, something's glitched out. What's happened here? See, this is another bit they missed. So, I'm going to get rid of that face. Oops. Then switch to Edge Select, that one, and that one, face, and we have to do all of this again. Alright, so that one, that one, that one, that one, that one. Alright. once it starts to go beyond a certain point, it just gets weird. So, getting most of it in view, bevel it. I only need a tiny amount. The number down the bottom is 0.03. So let's try 0.01. No, not enough. 2. That may work. 2.5. That works a little better. Let's keep that one. Alright, and that adds the bevel to the back of the vehicle. Oh, I missed a bit. So, since I know the number, I can bevel 0.025, and that should match. So that again gives the basic outline of the vehicle, and I'll need to tidy up the doors and that sort of stuff, but I can create little recesses to sit on the door on top, and then black those out so it looks like there's just a rubber seal around the door and that sort of stuff. Tint all the windows so nobody knows any different. So that tidies up that piece. I might even just hide that so that I can get focus in on. Actually, I'm going to hide all the bits that are irrelevant and just focus in on the cab. Wireframe mode again so I can see through it. Can't see that way because for some reason I've turned off those images. Alright, so in that thing, edit mode first before I add the ring cut. In that little review of the thing, I'm trying to add lines to match the shape of the vehicle so that when I get the ring cuts happening, it should match fairly closely. So if we go back to this again sample things, I've got one running down there to catch that line of the bonnet, the second one running on just on the inside, and you see it easier on here where that little gap in the bonnet is, so that they can pop the bonnet but not rip out the side panel, and that will run through to there, which is reasonably accurate. Then I've got to try and get that running through here before I add in the curves. And with this one, it may be the fact that I actually just create a cavity and then model what the headlights will look like depending on how much detail I wish to add. And that's always a question with these sorts of things, like how much detail do you need to add? How much is it relevant? Like if you look at the Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, when they animated the large city scenes, they just used blurs of color in the background to indicate vehicles with lights moving through those spaces. That was it. It was just a box, some color, done. When you get closer to the camera, be it a game or whatever, you need more and more detail. So I've got no illusion that this is going to be a beautiful model. I'm just trying to model something in a reasonable kind of sense. So I just want to get the basic shape of it. And as you go more and more into 3D modeling, you'll aim to become a better and better modeler. One would hope anyway. So looking at these, I need to adjust for these headlights. So first off, side view. That's in place. That's actually quite a good line. So I'm just going to grab in the Y direction and pull that back until it hits about here. Now that's instantly a problem because that one won't go where I want it to go. So it's just these two corners. Grab Y, pull it back so it matches. This one I'm going to have to pull back along this edge. So it might actually be halfway between here. And there's a way of triangulating points, but it gets a little complicated. Anyhow, another ring cut for the top of that headlight, and I'm going to pull this down and use it for the bottom here as well. Now, this headlight is there into here, so this point can actually slide forward. So if I grab that in the Y direction, just slide it forward to the angle's about right, and there it is. And I grab Y and push that back a bit. You can see it's starting to sort of roughly get shape, and this is really a starting point. That vertex is a problem, but I just need it to be the same position as that. So I want it to slide up to here and get closer and closer to that one, but and cursor is selected. If I look from the side, and actually I'll select the vertex first, look from the side, go to that, and I'm just going to scale that towards that point until it hits roughly there. Beautiful. And you can see that the shape of the vehicle is now starting to at least roughly resemble the thing. Now, looking from the front, this bit pops up. These individual vertexes don't follow that line. So grab X direction, slide them in just a little. These ones are completely irrelevant because it's part of the glass and no one's ever going to see it. That lot there, probably just those three actually. Grab Z direction, just pull them down a little bit. So that's that bonnet shape. This one, just going to pull that down a little bit lower. These ones, grabbing the Z direction, just drop those down a little bit. So it's starting to reasonably take shape. I've still got that atrocity that I created with the triangle just here, but we'll work around it. And Z direction, just to pop those a little bit. So this creates that sort of chamfer shape that I did on the cube at the back. Now, we've got this little interesting problem here. So looking from the side, the first step is all of this, no, not hide, Alt H, Z, no, not Z, grab Z first. Just going to pull that down so it matches the location of the door. Grab Y, pull that back. So that's the door. I'm going to need another ring cut through here. So position that one where the door is. Grab that one where the door is, and grab this one. Oops. If I box select, I get everything behind it as well. And that lot. Go from this into this. Scale Z0 to make it all nice and flat. This bit's going to need some extra work to make it curve. That bit is part of the door, so grab that, slide it in that direction. All this should be the top of the door, so grab that and just drop that there. Grab that, slide that right up to the top. Grab that, slide that right up to the top. And that's way out. But anyhow, we can fix it. Yes, we can. And a shout out to Bob, who is obviously a long-time subscriber, since he's been around longer than most people I see day to day. So yeah, so this is starting to take shape. Need to do a few more little tweaks here, like these two vertices I feel should actually overlap with those two, but that then brings into a problem. What am I doing? And how much topology do I actually cut out of the window? So let's just go those two. Oops, shift that one and that one. Snap, cursor to selected, and scale X. Oops, rotate it around the cursor. Scale X just to bring them in so they're nice and close. Scale Y0. Oops, that'll cut the cab in half. Now scale Y0 to flatten that out. And we're starting to get, I think, something reasonably close. Again, as before, I'm just going to trim out that door. Which way does the ring cut go? That way. See, I feel the ring cut should actually go that way, but my topology doesn't support that. So how do I change it to make it happen? What I really want to do is split off this edge and connect it into here. So I'm just going to remove that edge. Yeah, X edge. And then I'm going to subdivide this face, or this edge. Subdivide. Alright. Then I've got to remember what I was doing. Those two and those two become a face. Whoops. One too many. Unselect that. then face. So you notice here, that's nice. Then we can add a ring cut across the back, look to the side, and then grab that and pull it back so it roughly lines up. And we're starting to get the shape happening. Now, if we actually go to solid mode so we can see this a little clearer, we have these two and these, they need to be faced, and these two and this one also need to be faced. Done. So looking from the side, we get wireframe again, scale, shift, X, 0, line them all up, and then grab them and reposition them roughly where I want them. That way when we ring cut here, that one goes, oh, it's a 5-edge thing. So this one has got to go through to here. Okay, I'm losing my mind here. But it's a process that you go through. No, not that one. X, just the face, and this one, I want a ring cut in there. So I'm just going to X out that edge. I'm going to add my ring cut in here. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Face. Whoops. How'd that get selected? Face. That's better. Then looking from this angle, I can just go to there. Face that. Yeah, it's kind of working now. This is basically an extension of the bottom now, which is good. So I can, yeah, I'll start addressing these faces. Face that and face that. Now, and my screencast keys keep turning off. Alright, grabbing this and dropping it down to about right. Scale Y0. Grab that just there. Add a ring cut this way. I don't want to add too much more topology here. I want that to go somewhere else, which is unfortunate in this case. But anyhow, maybe if I start sectioning out the doors, I'll get a better result. So, what do we have? We have the windows on the front. So, this one is just basically those. And I have selected nothing else. Separate by selection. That's now the front windscreen. Then we look at the door. Okay, the door is... looks like about that. Separate by selection. Alright, so just focusing on this bit, I'm going to start removing the irrelevancies. Why has it still got the wireframe in there? Hide. Okay. This actually looks like it might be easier to work with. Wonderful. Well, the door frame doesn't need to be as big. Let's have a look at the side first. That's right. I'm not overly keen on that bit, but that's going to need some extra little stuff in there. So well, let's focus in on the little pieces first. Alright, so X edges, right. I don't know about that yet. Let's just hide those because I really don't want to be dealing with them. Alright, now, and that bit can just go. Alright, so if we extrude this, rotate a little bit, extrude. So what I'm trying to do here is basically follow the line of the door. Just grab that whole lot and bring that back to about here. And I'm going to try and get these to connect to that. So extrude, rotate, extrude, rotate, grab a little See, some of this is just, I mean, I'm just eyeballing it, it's nothing fancy. Let me rotate a little bit, yeah. Just to try and keep that sort of, I suppose, consistent turning. That one's possibly a little much. And here I'm going to be just shoving vertices around for a while. I can feel it now. Yeah. And that one may actually connect to that one, who knows? That needs to be about there. That one. Yeah. This is feeling kind of dodgy, so I'm just gonna face that. Now, extrude, just get the rough position, face, and then I'll just switch modes and just face that. Alright, that connects that back up. So, just grab these. And you can see I'm starting to get that curve of the wheel hub there. Can replicate the same over the other side with a lot more topology. So ring cut, add 2, ring cut, add 3, and ring cut, add 2. And then I can actually just, just go in for individual vertices. I'm box selecting to grab all the stuff that's sitting behind it, because I know there's stuff there, even though I'm not directly. And the goal here is to try and get an even circle. And, you know, it's, again, as I said, doesn't have to be perfect. I mean, you can see that. Actually, if I remember from the images, scale Z, I'm just going to bring that closer together. There's a bit of a flat bit across the top. This underneath here, I'm just going to add a black box and just slide it down the back and conceal my effortlessly laughable work. So that's looking reasonably good. As I said, it's not going to be perfect. That's got the space for the headlights, and I'm certain there's others among you who can do a far superior job. Alright, so that's, oh, I'm missing a huge chunk here. Let's try an Alt-H to unhide everything. Alt-H. Okay. Now this bit's easy, actually. So I'm just going to go to solid mode, face select. I'm going to get rid of particular faces, X, faces and Alps, just faces only, and switch to the edge, get rid of that edge, and that edge, and probably the edge of the center, X, edges, and then I can go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and this is where it gets easy. I can go extrude Z direction. Oh, that looks about right. Extrude Z direction. It hits. Now I need to get these all joined up. Oh, and there's a bit I missed there. That's naughty of me. Ring cut. That's about right. So I need to join some vertices together. One technique, which I've showed you already, is to snap the cursor to your selected vertex, grab all the vertex you wish to adjust, do it on that as the pivot point, and then scale X 0 to bring them into line. But that doesn't stitch them together. So if I select both the vertices, and I'm going to go wireframe just so I can do this, actually I might just move the cursor out of the way. 1 vertex, 2 vertex. You can tell because the lines around those vertices, if I look from the right angle and get some shadow happening, are all highlighted, whereas if I select it, you can see one's only one, now it's all. And then an Alt M is to merge. I'll merge them at the center. This one, I'm going to snap my cursor to the selected and then go so scale Z0, that should put them all together. Select those two, which are the two bottom vertices, and merge at center. Merge at center. And merge at center is just the center of the 2 points. Merges them together. Now that they're all being stitched together, I'm starting to get the shape of the vehicle. And, you know, does it have to be super fancy and 100% accurate? Yeah, look, leave that to the professional modelers. I'm not one of them, and I can't show you how to do it. Not to the same level of detail. So, Alt H. I wanted to unhide this, but I seem to have lost the back of the car. So, turning off the scene collection, I'm just going to focus on getting this fixed. So I've added a ring cut to the bottom, I'm going to add another ring cut to the top, and I'm going to start stitching these two halves together. Actually, I remember why I didn't do it, because the door was curving around the back, but just for my sanity's sake, I'm going to bring those bloody close. Alright, so grab Y again, drop that back, whoops, grab Y, drop that back. Alright, so I'm just going to edge select, and this bit here is what needs to be done. Alright, so to make my life easier, all of that can be hidden. Alright, so snap, cursor to selected, those two, extrude Z straight, extrude Z straight up, scale Z 0, done. Oh, if I do it in the right part, scale Z 0, that should lock those into place. Snap, merge at center, merge center, snap, cursor selected, those two, extrude, basically straight up, scale Z0, done. Alright, so you can see here I'm just basically stitching together bits and pieces. I'm going to keep doing this, but I'm going to stop the video here because, God, why would you want me to watch me do this? It's just stitching the piece, and I'll just finish that line through there. Alright, thanks.